Last week, I let a rules-based exit engine run my paper trading account with 0 human overrides. 8 positions went on. 5 of them completed the full round trip. Every exit was decided by 2 hard rules. Take profit at plus 3%, stop loss at minus 2%. The scoreboard: 3 wins, 2 losses, and a grand total of $10.02 in realized profit. That number sounds small because it is small. But the worst trade of the week teaches the clearest lesson I've recorded in 2026. Before the first chart, 2 disclosures, stated plainly. First, this is a paper trading account. Alpaca paper mode, simulated fills, simulated money, not one real dollar, was on the line this week. Second, nothing in this video is financial advice. This is educational content only, a public engineering log of an experiment. I show the numbers so you can judge the process rather than copy the trades. Every figure you'll see comes from the engine's evidence ledger, written on every entry, and every exit with broker order ID attached. Here's the machine we're grading. The engine is a broad market sampler, running against a paper account of $100,085. It sizes every position at $500 notional, 0.5% of the account. Small on purpose, because this phase is about evidence rather than returns, with a total exposure cap of $50,000. Then 2 exit rules take over. Rule 1, take profit at plus 3%. Rule 2, stop loss at minus 2%. No discretion. Before this test, 7 out of 7 earlier positions ended in a forced time-based close instead of a rule firing. We fixed the exit logic, and this week was the first full test of that fix. The verdict on the plumbing: 5 closed trades, 5 rule-based exits, 0 forced closes. Now let's grade its decisions. The week of July 6th through July 10th, 2026, in one picture. 8 entries went on the book, AMD and Meta twice each, plus USO, AVGO, NVDA, and a SPY position that's still open. 5 of the 8 completed the round trip. 3 exits were take profits, USO at plus 4.71%, AVGO at plus 3.47%, NVDA at plus 3.05%. 2 were stop losses, Meta at minus 2.04%, and AMD at minus 7.17%. Yes, minus 7 on a 2% stop. That gap is the story of this video. Realized profit across the 5 closed trades, plus $10.02. Win rate, 60%. 1 trade at a time. Trade 1, Monday, July 6th, 2:05 in the afternoon Eastern. The engine buys $500 of advanced micro devices at a filled price of $554.03, 0.9025 shares. Ledger record on file. Tuesday morning at the 9:30 open, AMD prints $514.28. That is a gap down of more than 7% from our fill. The stop-loss rule fires on the first mark of the day, at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern, and the engine sells to close. Loss, $35.87, minus 7.17%. The loss came in more than 3 times deeper than the 2% stop, because a stop loss is an instruction, not a force field. When a stock gaps overnight, a market order at the open fills where the market is, not where your rule wanted. The rule still did its job. It exited immediately on the first print it saw. But a stop's protection ends at the closing bell, and Monday night proved it. Trade 2, Tuesday, July 7th, at 10:05 a.m. Eastern, 5 minutes after the AMD stop-out, the engine redeploys $500 into USO at a fill of $106.60. Ledger record on file. 24 hours later, Wednesday at 10 o'clock, USO marks $111.62, and the take profit rule fires. Gain, $23.54, plus 4.71% versus a target of 3. The same mechanic that hurt us on AMD worked for us here. An overnight gap carried price past the 3% target. Gaps cut both ways. But stay clear-eyed. The engine collected an extra 1.7 points of gap luck on this trade. And luck is not a strategy. Trade 3, the most honest exit of the week. Tuesday at 2:05 p.m. Eastern, the engine buys $500 of Meta platforms at $614.95. Record on file. Wednesday at the 10 o'clock mark, Meta prints $602.38, down 2.04% from the fill. The stop fires. Loss, $10.22. This is what the rule looks like when it works exactly as designed. The drawdown touched the 2% line, the position was cut, and the realized damage landed within 0.04 points of the spec. Next to AMD's minus 7.17%. That's the two faces of one rule, and the difference was gap size, not discipline. Trade 4, Wednesday, July 8th, at 10:05 a.m. 5 minutes after the Meta stop out, the engine rotates $500 into Broadcom at a fill of $386.41. Record on file. Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, the mark hits $399.83, and the take profit rule closes it. Gain, $17.35, plus 3.47%. Two details worth grading. First, this exit fired intraday, not at the open, so the fill landed closer to the 3% target than the overnight gap exits did. Second, the entry came 5 minutes after a losing exit. The engine doesn't sulk after a stop out. It took the next signal at full size, and that signal paid $17.35. Trade 5, Wednesday at 2:05 p.m. Eastern, $500 of NVDA at a fill of $202.48. Record on file. This one took the scenic route. It held through Thursday and closed Friday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern at $208.65. Take profit. Gain, $15.22, plus 3.05%. The closest exit to spec all week, 0.05 points over the 3% target. Final tally on the machinery. 3 take profits on the 3 winners, 2 stop losses on the 2 losers, 0 exits by timeout, 0 by human panic. Whatever you conclude about the returns, the exit engine did exactly what it was built to do. Time to grade the stop losses honestly. The 2 stops cost $46.09 combined, $35.87 on AMD, plus $10.22 on Meta. And here's the part that stings. The ledger shows AMD marked at $557.83 by Friday afternoon, above our original $554.03 entry. If the engine had ignored its stop and held through the gap, the Monday AMD trade would have finished green. On this trade, in this week, the stop loss made us poorer. That is the actual price of the insurance. A stop is a premium you pay in the weeks the market bounces back, so that you're still solvent in the week it doesn't. And the engine did the emotionally impossible thing afterward. It bought AMD again on Thursday at $545.97, and by Friday that position was up $10.86 unrealized. Rules don't need therapy after a loss. Humans do. Now the comparison, every strategy has to survive. What if we had bought the index instead? The ledger has its own control group. The engine opened a SPY position on Monday, July 6th, at a fill of $748.34, and by Friday afternoon, it was marked at $754.07, plus 0.77% for the week. For doing nothing, our 5 closed trades made $10.02 on roughly $2,500 of deployed capital, plus 0.40%. The verdict, in plain words, we underperformed. Holding the index beat the exit engine this week, 0.77 versus 0.40. I could hide that behind the 60% win rate. I won't. 1 week is statistical noise in both directions, but if I'll take credit for the wins, I have to publish the benchmark that beat them. 5 lessons from a week of graded exits. 1 day. Rule-based exits remove the worst variable in trading. 5 trades, 5 rule exits, 0 panic decisions at 2 a.m. 2. Stops define your loss in normal markets, not in gapping markets. Meta lost 2.04% as designed. AMD lost 7.17% through the identical rule. Position sizing is what made that gap survivable, not the stop. 3. Gap luck flows in both directions. USO's exit landed 1.7 points past target. For the same reason, AMD landed 5 points past its stop. 4. The benchmark is undefeated until proven otherwise. Publish it especially when it beats you. 5. The metric that matters at this stage isn't the $10.02. It's that the exit machinery went 5 for 5 after going 0 for 7 before the fix. Process first, profits later. Next week the engine runs again. Same rules, same $500 slots, and I'll grade every exit on camera, including the ugly ones. If a paper account telling the truth in public is your kind of content, subscribe. The losing weeks carry the biggest lessons, and I publish those too. One more time before you go. Everything you saw was simulated. Paper trading, not real money, and none of it is financial advice. This is educational content only. Do your own research before risking a single real dollar. The full evidence ledger, record ID and all, stays on file. See you at the next exit.